Yeah, buddy. Now that's the kind of diversity, equity, and inclusion I'm all about. Absolutely stunning. And over here, I'm not sure you can see it, but the bees are all over it. We got a little bee up in here doing its thing. That's what I'm talking about. I want to make a really important video about diversity and why you ought to consider it, not just in your food forest or your permaculture orchard, but really as a matter of preparedness. And I'll explain why. Right here, we got a peach. Now follow me over here. I'm going to take you to another peach. And this is another cultivar. This is a Belle of Georgia. I don't remember that one exactly, but they basically come around at about the same time. And yeah, they're two different cultivars, and they really ought to have more space between them, but I'm doing an experiment up here. I'm going to show you another peach. Believe it or not, this sucker's just over 2 years old, and this is it right here. I had to prune it heavily, and it's nowhere near as far along as the rest of it. This is a majestic. Why am I telling you all this? Because when you go to an orchard, and I don't care where it is, what do you see 9 times out of 10? You're going to see a monoculture of all of the same tree. Well, why is that foolish? Why does that not make good sense? If you do have some sort of pestilence that unfolds that affects one cultivar of tree, it's going to get all of them. So you're seeing where I'm going with that, but that's not just the only thing. If you're going to get something, let's say a peach like this one here, maybe it's a good idea to have one that blooms early in the season, midway in the season, and then late in the season. This is Preparedness 101. I mean, we live in a precarious world. Let's just take a trip over to the truck and let's show you what I picked up. Well, I know Michelle loves cherries, and we got a few down the hill, but they're not ready. And these are 2 cherries. One, fruit's gonna be ready in June, and the other one is gonna be ready in July. Despite how much you may like one, maybe you might wanna consider and diversify for a whole variety of reasons. It's a real big help if everything's not coming in all at the same time. And if I can spread them out, not only is it easier to manage the harvest, but it's also adding a level of redundancy in your preparedness that's pretty doggone impossible to beat. Let me also say, when it comes to these trees, I got them at a fraction of what they would cost. You know what? Because they were all looking dead out there in the yard, but they were very much alive, but they weren't moving them. And they had these things on the discount rack for next to nothing. But now you're thinking, okay, well, what if it doesn't work out? I would dare say this is a better investment than the US dollar. Let me start right there. And second of all, if just one of these made it for the 20 bucks or whatever they were, if one of them takes root, do you think it was worth the investment? Well, I do. So people are investing in gold, Bitcoin, US dollar, land, and all these things. Maybe you might want to think about this as an investment, because to me it is. It's not just permaculture, it's also preparedness. And like I said, the two of them are absolutely synonymous in my book. So now it's just picking out the best place to put them. All right, well, they say this is a biodegradable sock. Homie, don't play that. And let me tell you the reasons why. I'm gonna take this thing out of here because every single time I've ever had to deal with something that was supposedly biodegradable, I mean, even the comfrey roots were struggling to get through it. So I'm not gonna play that. It says leave it on there and just plant the whole thing in it. Not gonna do it. We're gonna let this thing stretch its wings, so to speak. Yep, as suspected. Man, this is really not wonderful, but you know, what do you expect on a discount rack? If you'll notice, I put all of this stuff on the cardboard, and this is another little trick I got from my man, is that instead of it being lost in your grass, you put it right there in your cardboard. You're gonna lose a little bit, it's not that consequential. So once again, I'm gonna show you that little trick I've done before. We're just gonna take your knife, cut a Y in it, and then just kind of score it along the top, push that through, and then you can't really tell it, but it slopes this way. So I'm gonna stick it on that way. There you go. We'll go ahead and get this sucker mulched. Any fertility I'd want to add right here, but I'm not doing anything, y'all. This is where I kind of lean into Mark Shepard's method, where I'm going to stick you in the ground. I'm going to give you the best conditions. I'll give you a little bit of water at first, and then it's either get loose or get lost. That's how it rolls around here, because we pretty much have the same philosophy with our animals that we do with the trees. I'm going to make this look like a donut laying on its side, or bagel, whichever you prefer. So that's a wrap. So here it is. We got our other cherry. And we're gonna do the same thing all over again. I'm gonna lay out my cardboard, and that's where we're gonna put it. Hey y'all, I'm not kidding. Right here is the site where we did that instant garden, Jeff Lawton's instant garden. And I'm here to tell you, this ground was as hard as 3 times 9. And in like one season, the transformation is absolutely unbelievable. And actually you can see it in here from that hard clay, and now you can see the exchanges happening. Once again, we got one of these socks on here. Let's see if we got the same phenomenon. Ooh, heavens to Murgatroyd. Lo and behold, that's exactly what they did all over again. So we're gonna get this in here, get it covered up. You know, I can't believe I didn't mention this, and I probably should have said it before, because it's kind of the theme of this video. We're expecting a frost here in a couple of days, okay? Even though everything's wonderful, it feels great, you gotta love it, the whole 9 yards. And then just like that, everything you thought you were gonna get, you ain't getting it. So this is yet another reason for having early, mid, and late production times. Think of what that does for you, really. I mean, it's that added security of knowing that, okay, if something gets wiped out, well, I got 2 other chances for this thing to make it. So that's really a bigger impetus to all of this, y'all, is everything I do these days, I'm not even gonna kid you. And in fact, every video that I do as of late, there's always in the back of my mind, is there a way to weave in a preparedness component? Because I'm always thinking it. I'm not paranoid, I'm prepared. They both begin with peace, so maybe that's where the confusion lies. So, no, 2 is 1 and 1 is none. And you know what's even better? Is when you can make that other one not the same doggone cultivar, because this cherry tree and the last one are separated by a month. So if we get a bunch of blossoms on here and it dies like the peaches up there have a chance of doing, then it's not the end of the world, because you still got something coming. Yeah, buddy. Now that's the kind of diversity, equity, and inclusion I'm all about. Man, the only thing left to do, y'all, is apply Billy's Bone Sauce. We got it at the website. It's not a panacea, but it is without a doubt the best deer repellent on planet Earth. We make it right here. And it really, actually, that might be a little too much for a tree this size. But all I'm gonna do is go all the way around it, typically up to browsing height. Could go higher, and it's always best to do this stuff while the trees are dormant. It's no big deal if you got to do it when they're not dormant. It's just you want to avoid the green, because it will basically wilt that stuff. So that's about all I'm going to do right there. Really didn't need anywhere near that much. Think about your diversity on your place. I know you may like a particular apple, peach, pear, plum, whatever the case may be, but think about that diversity, and think about different times of the year when that same variety, your apple, you got early, mid, late, whatever the case may be. Not only is it a great strategy in terms of growing, but it's a really great strategy in terms of preparedness. Like I said, at this farm, we're all about permaculture, preparedness, and practical living. And I think they're all synonymous anyway. All right, hopefully this was a blessing to you. Till next time, this is Billy from Pastures Farm, where permaculture is my passion. And don't forget, this Saturday and Sunday, I'm going to be out there at the Organic Grower School in Mars Hill, North Carolina. So hopefully it's not too late. Come by if you can make it. We'll see you next time.